Delighted to be joined by Nathan Sherratt, who is 23 years of age. He's based in the northeast of England. He referees on the Northern League, which is level 6 in the pyramid. And Nathan, thank you very much for telling us your story about your refereeing journey and the fact also that you have autism and how that impacts your life and also as a referee. Can you tell us about that, please?
Thanks, Chris. It's something that really affects every aspect of my life, and it's something that actually probably gives me a little bit more of a challenge on a daily basis. Things like getting up a bit earlier in the morning and things, because it takes me a little bit more, maybe more time to get dressed and things like that. Just really simple, basic things that I have to factor in. And of course, I use various systems when I'm refereeing to organise, where I'm going to be at the weekend or a midweek game, and always having to think about maybe how long it's going to take me to get there and those little extra things. And those are little things that I've managed to add to me sort of schedule as I've got older and understood more about my condition.
What are the biggest challenges that you face, Nathan, on the football field as a referee?
I think that sometimes I'm maybe a little bit too, not introverted, but maybe a little bit, sometimes I don't quite find the right words. I think there's a lot of referees who will tell you that they trade off really good quips and little things that help them manage situations. And those things for me are a little bit harder to come by. So I have to maybe work a little bit harder when I'm trying to manage a group of players on a football pitch, because of the fact that maybe I'm not quite as easily, it doesn't come as easily to me, the ability to maybe read emotions and things like that, which is another aspect of being on the autistic spectrum.
Any specific examples on the football field where you can tell us where perhaps it has had an impact?
I think that I'm in my 7th season as a referee now, and I think that over time I've had to learn to understand the cues, maybe when players are a little bit angry or frustrated, and think about how we go about that, because I think that when a player is angry and frustrated, you don't want to meet that with kind of force. You want to be more human, and you need to open yourself up more. And I think that, I'm not saying that I'm a cold person, but I think that a lot of autism is very black and white, and gives you a very black and white way of thinking. And I think that that means that sometimes you have to practice that sort of game empathy and empathy with the players and things like that, to manage those situations as best as possible in order to really protect your own game management.
Do you tell players and coaches about your autism in the Northern League? Do any of them know about it?
I don't, because I think that what it probably would do is create some stereotypes and some ideas that maybe don't have that basis in truth, and that's probably no fault of their own. I think there's a lot of it's not a widely known condition what the real sort of facets of it are. And I think that one of the things I found, particularly when I was at school, a number of years ago now, was that the whole autism thing was used as a stick to beat people with. It wasn't something that was looked at in a positive light. It was almost used as an insult and hurled as abuse, maybe on the playground. And I think that as adults, we don't get any further education on things like this, and trying to understand people who are not neurotypical. So I think that it's still something that there needs to be more education on, and unfortunately, it's not something that I think would give me any sort of advantage by sort of sharing that information.
I think around about 700,000 people in the United Kingdom have autism. So it impacts virtually every family in the country. And just in the same way that as a world, we're all being educated and people are progressing in so many different areas of life in terms of their knowledge of other people's backgrounds. Do you think it's time that people understand autism more? And do you think actually if players and coaches did find out about autism more, and there's probably players out there and managers and coaches who have got autism and are on this autism spectrum, do you think it might actually help for everybody to understand each other a bit better?
Absolutely, because I think that one of the key, I don't call it disadvantage, but one of the key impacts that autism has is around the way that people communicate, particularly in social environments. And I think that, to understand each other a little bit more can only be a good thing. And I think that, when you look at like you say, the fact that there's 700,000 people, and definitely, absolutely, there's going to be players and coaches who are on the spectrum as well. I think that if we came together to understand it a little bit more, it would absolutely sort of give us a greater sense and a greater confidence as well. Like you asked me before about, do I tell people? Well, maybe I would feel more confident about it if I knew that people could understand what actually that entailed and what that meant for me. But like we've said, it's Autism Awareness Week this week, and I hope that it will come onto the agenda. It will come onto the radar of the mainstream people a little bit more, who maybe hadn't considered autism previously, or have been lucky enough not to be affected by it in that minority. So we can only hope that awareness events such as this, and awareness days such as sort of World Autism Day on the 2nd of April, will create those bits of awareness that we really need, and will maybe give people that impetus to actually find out a little bit more about the condition.
And just finally, Nathan, you're only 23, you're already in the Northern League as a referee, level 6 of the pyramid. Is there any reason why autism should hold you back from getting to the top? Do you expect it to hold you back?
No, like I say, I've been very adaptable. I've learned and understood my condition. I've spent time working with people who've allowed me to help to understand the impact of it and the ramifications. And one of the great things I've had through my business has been support, from government schemes and things like that, which have allowed me to maybe get clear of some of the more administrative tasks that maybe I find difficult, and help me learn them from a business owner's perspective. When I'm running the third team, which is my business, which works actually with referees on resilience and mental toughness and mental well-being, which is something I'm really, really passionate about, because that's something that autism's had a real impact on, is my mental well-being. And I think that it's something that autistic people have to deal with. The facts are that sort of the intrinsic anxiety levels of autistic people is actually at a higher level than neurotypical people. So we're always dealing with maybe mental health challenges a little bit more, and I think that's fueled certainly my passion for that. But it hasn't held me back in business, and I hope that it won't hold me back in my refereeing career either.
Nathan Sherratt, thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.